Great.
All right, we got some paperwork for you.
Do you have news about Ryan?
Well, you're under arrest.
What?
Yep. So we're placing you under arrest. There's going to be some people at the sheriff's office that are going to be talking to you
Why
down
am
there.
I under arrest? If you'll let me, my children, you guys, my children. What is happening here? What is happening?
So we have a copy of your warrant for you.
I don't understand. What? This is insane.
This is Karina Cooper. In June of 2021, her husband, Ryan Cooper, was shot twice in the face while sleeping on his living room recliner. Following the incident, Karina had mostly cut ties from her friends and family and kept a low profile. But 3 years later, she was now being arrested for the first-degree murder of her husband.
My kids are going to be so scared. How is this happening? This is insane.
Karina was thrown into the back of a police cruiser and taken to the Tama County Jail. But did she really pull the trigger? Several clues at the crime scene actually pointed to a mysterious intruder, someone who had left a trail of evidence after killing Ryan. In order to determine who actually murdered Ryan, we need to start from the beginning. More specifically, we need to go back to June 18th, 2021 at 4:39 a.m. when Karina called 911.
What's going on?
The dispatcher couldn't make out what Karina was trying to say, but they were able to trace the call to the Cooper farm, located at 1846 K Avenue. While this call was taking place, the sheriff's office received another 911 call from the victim's brother, Aaron.
I just got a call from my sister-in-law that somebody's in their house.
Okay, someone's in her house.
Yep.
We have a female on 911, but can't understand her.
When Aaron arrived at the house, he stayed inside his truck, waiting for instructions from dispatch.
I am armed. Do you want me to proceed? Yeah? The kid just came out and told me to come out.
Okay.
She's still screaming.
Aaron entered the house and followed Karina's screams to the living room, where he found his brother in his recliner, unresponsive and soaked in blood.
What the f***? What? My brother's dead.
What?
I need an ambulance now.
Aaron checked for a pulse and found nothing.
Do you know if he's been shot?
No.
He has not, but there's blood coming out of his mouth.
And all over on the floor.
Moments later, a deputy from the sheriff's office arrived on the scene.
What's going on? My brother's dead.
Aaron led the deputy to the living room where Karina was curled up on top of Ryan's lifeless body.
Ma'am, what happened?
Upon closer inspection of Ryan's body, the deputy noticed 2 gunshot wounds to his face, confirming that this was a homicide. The house was now a crime scene, so the deputy told Aaron and Karina to wait on the front porch.
1079 is 7 headed this way as well.
While waiting for backup to arrive, the deputy cleared the house for any threats and scanned for any clues as to who could have done this.
They're almost to your location now.
A second deputy approached the house and asked Aaron and Karina to fill him in. But Karina clearly wasn't ready to answer questions.
What happened?
She said...
Where is the ambulance?
Where's the guy with the gunshot?
She's hysterical. I'm assuming that's the wife.
So
County 7. Get a hold of the ME's office. Also advise 86-1. We have 1 deceased male.
While inspecting inside the house, the deputies noticed that nothing seemed out of place and there were no signs of a forced entry, so it seemed unlikely that this was a burglary gone wrong. Additionally, there was no evidence that a struggle had taken place, leading the deputies to believe that Ryan was killed while asleep in his recliner. The deputies headed back outside while they waited for the medical examiner. One of them asked Karina to follow him to his cruiser, away from the crime scene, hoping she would calm down to answer some questions.
Can you tell me what happened?
There was a loud noise. I thought something fell.
Did you see anybody else in the house?
No.
So did he do that to himself?
No way. No way.
Okay.
I couldn't get my gun out of the safe.
You couldn't get your gun out of his face?
Anytime the deputy asked Karina about what happened, her grief-stricken state of mind got worse. So he decided to save the questions for later.
I'm here for you. All right, I'm here for you. All right? We just got to figure out what happened first. Okay? You want to stand up?
Yeah, I need,
Okay.
I need air.
Okay. Okay. Just take a seat, all right?
Oh my God.
Karina, sit up.
Karina was then escorted back to the sheriff's office to be formally interviewed. She was now much calmer.
Anything else kind of off or just strange about last night?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
Karina said that around 4:30 a.m. she was sleeping in her bed when all of a sudden she was woken up by a loud bang.
It sounded like something crashed in the kitchen. It sounded like something falling. It was loud. And I got up and I peeked in the living room and he was laying there, and I went to the kitchen and turned the light on in the living room, and then...
So when you turn on the light, what exactly do you remember seeing?
It just looked like he was sleeping.
Okay.
And then I walked up to him to touch his foot, there's blood, like everywhere. Like a lot. I started screaming, like a lot. I don't know what I thought. I thought somebody was in the house.
Karina said that she eventually tried to get her gun to protect herself, but she wasn't able to open the safe it was in.
I tried to get my stupid gun that I don't even know how to work and have never shot out of the safe that he said we had to have, and I couldn't even get the thing open. I called Aaron. He said he was on his way, and I went back out.
Rather than hide from a potential killer in the house while she waited for Aaron, Karina went back to her husband's body and continued screaming at the top of her lungs.
Do you make any attempt at, do you touch him? Do you...
I crawled on him. I hit him. I think I was shaking him and screaming at him.
You think you were hitting
I
him?
think I kept hitting him, trying to get him to wake up. Shaking him.
Okay.
Holding his feet.
Throughout this entire incident, Karina made no attempt to save Ryan's life. Although she chalked this up to being too distraught to think straight, the detectives couldn't help but wonder if there was a more sinister explanation for her actions.
Again, not to be personal, okay, but again, these are things we need to ask, just to try to figure this thing out. Has there been any marital issues between the two of you?
Nothing where there was ever any doubt about our marriage.
Okay, so no affairs of any kind?
No.
According to Karina, her and Ryan's marriage was rock solid. But in a separate interview room, Aaron was telling the detectives otherwise. He told them about an incident that happened last year, where Ryan had apparently seen a message on Karina's phone from one of her clients named Houston. Something about seeing a married woman naked. The detectives interviewing Karina were pulled out of the room and advised of this new discovery. They then formed a game plan before recommencing her interrogation.
One of the questions I have is, do you know anyone that would have any reason to hurt him?
No.
Has he had any issues with anybody?
No, nobody. He doesn't hurt anyone.
Okay. What can you tell me about your relationship with Houston?
Danker?
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Okay. And I'm going to be blunt with you and be forward with you. The only reason we ask is Aaron made mention about maybe Ryan seeing something on your Snapchat. Not that that was Houston, but maybe there was something with your Snapchat.
Last fall, there was a Snapchat that wasn't even meant for me.
Okay, tell me about that.
Supposedly. Ryan saw it, not me. And he told me about it. It was something about a married woman and naked, seeing her naked or something like that.
Okay.
And Ryan saw it and confronted me, and I confronted Houston, who were friends on Snapchat, and that's it.
Okay.
And he swore up and down it wasn't meant for me.
I guess.
This is dumb.
Well, we're trying to get to the bottom of dumb.
Oh my God.
We're just making sure that all the questions are answered. Has Houston seen you naked?
No. God, no.
Okay.
He's 22 years old.
Oh, to each their own. I'm just...
Stupid town and their rumors. No.
Okay.
I cut his hair. I watched his kids a couple times when his babysitter flaked.
Karina said that the last time she spoke to her friend Houston was in the spring, and ever since then there had been zero issues. Her interview was concluded and her phone was seized. The detectives ultimately found no evidence of an affair with Houston, but they wondered what Houston himself had to say about his relationship with Karina. So they tracked him down and brought him in for an interview.
Yeah, actually you can grab a seat here, that'd be great. Okay, why your name came up is Ryan Cooper died.
See, and
Ryan Cooper died, and one of the first, I don't know, in the first hour, someone said, hey, we heard that Karina was having an affair with Houston. That's why you're here, okay?
Yeah.
The rumor that's going around is you and Karina were Snapchatting. Did that actually happen at some point?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When did that happen?
Yeah. I mean...
Is it still going on?
With me and Karina?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's random Snapchat shit. You know, I mean,
Okay.
it's
Houston said that he used to work near the Cooper residence, so he would often stop by to get his hair cut by Karina, who is a full-time hairdresser. However, he hadn't made much contact with her since he switched jobs in October of last year.
I'll put it this way. I'll completely dumb it down. So, like, with me and Karina, the hard thing with all that rumor being spread is I was literally sitting there like I would say a gay best friend. Like when everybody around Traer was saying, oh, you know, Houston's nailing her or whatever, I'm sitting there like, nope,
Although Houston is painting himself as a harmless acquaintance, he actually has a long history of having intimate relations with local cougars, women who are much older than him. Back in high school, he would apparently pull up outside of the local gym and flirt with the women exercising through the window. Some of these women couldn't resist Houston's charm, including his best friend's mom, whose marriage was ruined when the affair came to light. The agent knew about Houston's past and put his best friend persona into question.
You kind of got a reputation where you're pretty successful with the ladies, right?
I won.
Better luck than some. Or not as bad as others.
Years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's bad to say, but I'm young with 2 kids. You know,
Right.
But,
Houston insisted that despite his reputation, he was merely friends with Karina. He also claimed that he was sleeping at the time of the murder. Since the detective was unable to dispute anything in Houston's story, he was free to go for the time being. The detectives checked in with the crime scene investigators, who had discovered a lot about the killer's movements using blood evidence. At the base of the door right behind Ryan's recliner, there was blood spatter. The only way the blood could have gotten there was if the door was open at the time of the murder. This door led to a set of stairs, which also had small droplets of blood going down them. At the bottom of the stairs was a bloody shoe print. Although they couldn't prove that Houston was involved just yet, it was clear that somebody had entered this door, shot Ryan, and exited through the same door. Another important question was why the door was locked when the crime scene investigators first arrived. Either the killer had a key to that door, or someone had let them in and then locked it after Ryan was killed. The detectives believed the most reasonable conclusion was that Karina was involved in Ryan's murder. While reviewing the body cam footage, they were shocked to see her 12-year-old son standing in the living room, watching as Karina sobbed on top of Ryan's dead body.
Ma'am, what happened?
Karina stated multiple times that she thought there was a killer in the house. The detectives couldn't fathom why she allowed her son to stand around in the living room, not only witnessing his father's dead body, but potentially becoming the killer's next target as well. This, along with her over-the-top screaming,
Where is the ambulance?
led the detectives to believe that she was putting on an act. The detectives didn't waste time to bring Karina back in for another interview, and they confronted her with their suspicions.
I think that this is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Whatever's happening between you and your husband, whatever the issues are, okay?
There are no issues. There are no issues. Because my husband sleeps in a chair in the living room?
I'm not saying that.
Because rumors flew last fall that I was with some kid. We've been fine. Never once did either one of us ever say that we were going to leave. Never once did we doubt our marriage, our kids, our family.
Karina was headstrong on maintaining her innocence, and without more evidence against her, she was free to go. From that point on, she refused to speak with any law enforcement. The detectives advised Ryan's family to act normal around Karina and to let them know if she slips up in any way. But this didn't seem to work, and almost 2 years passed with no progress in the case. Then, in mid-2023, the detectives analyzed the data from a cell phone tower near the Cooper property. Unfortunately, the only devices recorded near the tower on the night of the murder belonged to Karina and Ryan. In a desperate attempt to push the investigation forward, the detectives used this evidence to suggest that nobody else had been on the property that night, and Karina had actually pulled the trigger herself. With Aaron's help, the detectives were able to convince Karina to sit down with them one last time to see if she would stick to her story when directly accused of Ryan's murder.
This will be an interview with Karina Cooper.
Rather than jumping on her right away, the detective wanted to hear if Karina's story had changed at all over the past 2 years.
I got up and kind of just to look and find that noise and find Ryan. Why didn't he wake up to that?
Yeah.
When I went in the living room, I said his name a couple of times because it looked like he was sleeping. And I remember Aaron over my shoulder took his pulse, and he was on the phone with 911 because I remember him saying, no, there's no pulse or something to that effect. I screamed and screamed. I know that. And I'm embarrassed that I did everything wrong. And I just remember screaming. I thought somebody was here.
And was Ransom in the bed, or was he sleeping?
He was at the foot of the bed.
Because you said you almost tripped over him.
I did trip over him.
You did.
Her story was consistent, but regardless, the evidence still pointed toward her involvement. It seemed that she could tell where this conversation was headed, because it wasn't long before she was rushing the detective out the door.
I need to be finishing up soon, so if there's something you have to do yet.
Yeah. No, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
After packing his things, the detective finally confronted her.
So, Karina, at this point, the case fact shows that nobody did come into the house that night.
Somebody did. Somebody obviously came in here. My husband's dead.
He is, Karina. And we both know at this point why that is. Karina, we know that it wasn't someone coming inside the house.
You're leaving my property now. Somebody came into my house and killed my husband. Go figure out who killed my husband.
Yeah, well, we did.
No, you obviously did.
Before the detective could even get into the details, Karina stormed out of the house.
Let's talk about it.
No, get off my property. You want to talk? You talk to my lawyer.
Well, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you because you're the one that knows what happened to Ryan that night.
No, I don't. If I knew what happened to my husband, I'd be in jail because the would be dead.
Karina.
Get off my property.
Following this encounter, the detective spent the next year trying to convince the Attorney General's office to prosecute Karina. Eventually, the detectives were able to win them over, and on February 16th, 2024, Karina's day of reckoning had finally come. Lead detective Trevor Killian and multiple deputies visited the Cooper farm to serve her arrest warrant.
All right, we got some paperwork for you.
You have news about Ryan?
Well, you're under arrest.
What?
Yep. So we're placing you under arrest. There's going to be some people at the sheriff's office that are going to be talking to you
Why
down
am
there.
I under arrest? If you'll let me, my children, you guys, my children. What is happening here? What is happening?
So we have a copy of your warrant for you.
I don't understand. What? This is insane. My kids are going to be so scared. How is this happening? This is insane.
After checking in with the kids and arranging for them to be picked up by family, Karina was transported to the Tama County Jail and placed behind bars. The detectives considered Karina's arrest a huge success since they were certain of her involvement. But this arrest was also a risky one since the blood evidence pointed towards someone else pulling the trigger. not Karina. If the state wanted to secure a conviction, they needed to figure out exactly how the blood ended up on the living room door and on the outdoor stairs. Thankfully, a big hint fell into the investigators' laps. Because following Karina's arrest, some of her old friends came forward saying that they had seen her Snapchat conversations before Karina had deleted them. The detectives reached out to Tiffany Lord, a digital forensic investigator, and asked if she could recover the deleted messages from Karina's phone. Tiffany struck gold. Karina and Houston frequently fantasized about their life together. They talked about how much better off Karina's children would be if they were being raised by Houston, and constantly referred to each other as husband and wife. Even on June 17th, 2021, the day before the murder. Then, on the day of the murder, just an hour before the 911 call rang in, Karina and Houston expressed their burning love for each other. Houston then said, "Okay, babe, phone's going down. Remember those casings. Remember those. No ifs, ands, or buts." Karina responded with, "Absolutely, 100%. Houston came back with, "Okay, babe, seriously putting the phone down. Have to get this shit done. I love you." The final message came from Karina. The message said, "Go." It was indisputable that Karina and Houston had lied to the detectives and were now directly implicated in Ryan's murder. Years had passed since the investigation first started, and Houston was now living in Cedar Rapids. So, a couple of detectives drove to a Menards grocery store parking lot, where they met Houston for a quick interview.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy workday. Obviously, at this point, Karina's been arrested, as things have moved along, there's still a few gaps in our knowledge.
They started the interview by revealing that they know about Houston's affair with Karina.
You become romantically attracted to her. Yeah. Is that right? And things have progressed. Yeah. Did you guys ever talk about a plan to relocate together or live together at some point in the future? No.
Houston is lying here. Several messages the investigators found clearly imply that he and Karina were desperate to live together. He told the detective that Ryan had found out about the affair at one point, and it gave him a bit of a reality check, but it didn't affect him enough to stop seeing Karina.
Did he basically ask you if there was something going on between you and Karina?
Pretty much.
And you just straight up said no, right?
Yeah. When he got a hold of me about that, that made me feel pretty low to call a spade, I felt bad for kind of pissing in his Cheerio. Okay.
Houston told the detectives that Karina was madly in love with him, but he never cared enough about the affair to harm Ryan. The detectives challenged this claim by pretending Karina was speaking to law enforcement from jail, pinning all of the blame on him.
Karina has a way of explaining this. Mm-hmm. And it's Houston who is the love-crazed person who just hated Ryan. And that will be the story that gets told. And that's not true. No, it's not true. Tell me about that night.
So, just to be honest with you, Karina wanted me to go over there and do it.
Yeah. Let's start over and talk about these early morning hours, right?
I guess what I'm going to ask you guys right now, are you guys telling me that I'm the one that did it?
Who first put the idea forward to end his life?
Karina.
What would be the next thing then that would happen to the plan?
Was to, be together and live life together. Which that would have never happened.
Was this 50-50? Would you say?
I would feel like I was forced into a lot of that stuff.
Details of Houston's story were slowly changing until eventually he admitted that Ryan was shot with his gun, but he wasn't the shooter.
Okay. Ryan got shot with a .22 that I own.
Who shot him?
Karina.
Where were you at?
At home.
Apparently, he originally agreed to be Ryan's hitman, but backed out at the last minute.
How did she receive that? When you're like, I don't want to do this.
Not very good. Call me up, thought you were going to take care of us, things like that. She's a pretty dominant person. It was so forced upon me. And like I said, once again, should have just been a bigger person, said, Karina, you, this is stupid, this is dumb. What are we doing?
After Karina took matters into her own hands, she told him to leave his phone at home and come grab the weapon.
What vehicle did you drive over there to pick the gun up?
A four-wheeler. Kind of be under the radar, I suppose.
Where was it at when you picked it up?
In the driveway.
Houston had no idea about the trail of blood evidence back at the Cooper household and how it didn't align with his story at all. But whether he was actually in the house or not, he had just admitted to helping plan Ryan's murder, hiding the murder weapon, and lying to law enforcement, which was more than enough to justify an arrest.
Are you guys arresting me? Just be honest with me.
At this point, based on what you just shared with me, we do need to place you under arrest.
Houston was put in handcuffs, placed in the back of a cruiser, and taken straight to jail. Now that Houston was locked up, the investigators executed a search warrant for his house. In the process, they found a pair of Vans shoes with a diamond tread pattern that matched the bloody shoe print left at the crime scene. They also looked into Houston's phone location data and determined that he had performed 3 practice runs the night before Ryan's murder. Between 7 and 10 p.m., Houston left his house, went slightly past the Cooper's residence, and returned back to his house 3 times. Despite the mountain of evidence against them, both of the accused killers pled not guilty to their charges. On July 7, 2025, Karina was the first to go to trial. The prosecution kicked things off with their opening statement. They told the jury that Karina and Houston's text exchanges were going to be shown as evidence, revealing a murder plan that was months in the making.
Starting early that year, early 2021, a plan was being hatched by these 2 lovers, the defendant and Ryan Cooper, and Houston Danker, to kill Ryan Cooper.
They also told the jury that the forensic analysis of Karina's phone had revealed that she had lied to the investigators about her timeline of events.
She said she was asleep until she heard a sound. She wasn't asleep. You'll hear that at 4:23 to 4:33 a.m., the defendant, Karina Cooper, took 170 steps in her residence, 393.7 feet, in 10 minutes. You'll hear, folks, that's longer than a football field.
This evidence suggested that Karina was walking around the house for 10 minutes, then waited for another 6 minutes before calling the police. This completely contradicted her story of discovering Ryan's body and calling for help immediately after waking up. The prosecution claimed that Karina was actually letting Houston flee the crime scene before dialing 911. Her motive for all of this was to collect Ryan's $500,000 life insurance policy and live happily ever after with her secret lover, Houston.
The defendant, Karina Cooper, was in financial trouble. She didn't have any money. Karina Cooper was not just an unfaithful wife. The evidence will show you that she was not just dishonest, but that she was manipulative, that she is a co-conspirator. You'll see that she's a planner. The evidence will show that she is a murderer. Ryan Cooper dies by her involvement absolutely 100%.
Karina's defense team's strategy was to pin the blame on Houston and tell the jury that he was the one pulling the strings all along.
Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Houston Danker shot Ryan Cooper in the face. Houston Danker solicited Karina. Houston Danker manipulated Karina. Houston Danker lured Karina. Houston Danker had Karina living in a dream world. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. You're going to see some Snapchats. You're going to see some pictures. Karina Cooper was in a dream world, and then it became real, and then she was in too deep.
The state began calling witnesses, and deputies took the courtroom through the dramatic 911 call and body cam footage, as well as the gruesome crime scene photos. All the while, Karina sat with her defense team, wiping away tears with her handkerchief. Friends and family of the Coopers were also called to the stand, and they recalled several instances of Karina's aggressive and sometimes violent behavior.
Well, the one that stands out in my mind is the night that she yelled at him and said that she hated him and would shoot him in the face.
Calling him names or saying he's stupid, or, I mean, just when she started drinking, she could get pretty ornery.
How would Ryan respond?
Usually just get quiet.
We were at a location, we'd been out, she was arguing with Ryan. Another friend tried to step in and kind of like dissolve the situation. She even grabbed that person by the hair and ripped them back out of the argument. So you could physically tell that she was very upset. As far as the conversation, I don't know what was going on, but it was very blatant. You could see what that she was not happy with him.
But the most damning evidence for Karina were the testimonies from the digital forensics experts who dove into the contents of Karina and Houston's messages leading up to the crime.
Here's hoping for a rogue semi today. Big accident, no survivors. Would love for you to be pregnant this time next year. I would love babies in my slow season so I can be around to help and spend time with you and the baby as much as possible. Remember those casings. F***ing remember those. No ifs and or buts. Have to get this shit done. I love you.
And Karina's response.
Go.
And the fact that Houston had the most incriminating search history on the planet didn't help Karina's case.
Where do murderers go to prison? How to permanently delete Snapchat data? Can messages be accidentally sent to somebody else on Snapchat? Can the feds pull Snapchats back up? What is the best way to poison somebody quickly? What's the best gun to use to kill somebody? How to positively get away with murder? The best way to kill somebody with no evidence? How much does it pay to dig a grave?
Karina, on the other hand, didn't have any incriminating searches because she had conveniently deleted her search history. From February 2021, when Houston first started Googling how to kill someone, to June 2021, just a few weeks before Ryan's death, the Safari app on Karina's phone had no data whatsoever, despite being her primary search engine before and after that gap. On the 5th day of the trial, the state rested their case, and it was the defense's turn to call witnesses to the stand. Their first witness was Karina herself. Most of Karina's testimony focused on her relationship with Houston.
How did you meet him?
By cutting his hair. Flirting a little bit when cutting his hair. I was being showered with attention by him, being told I was beautiful. It became very flattering to me.
At one point, did it become physical?
There was one physical encounter, yes. That was the last time that I cut his hair.
Why did you stop cutting his hair?
Because I had sex with him. It was an online fantasy, like going to a chat room or playing video games where you steal cars and shoot at cops. It was an online fantasy thing, and when it became a physical in-person thing, I was disgusted and scared of losing my husband.
She said that Houston was the one who initially brought up killing Ryan, but she never took him seriously.
Did Houston talk about killing Ryan?
Several times. I thought he was full of crap.
As for her incriminating messages, she said some of them were bad jokes and others were part of her elaborate fantasy.
There's a message about a rogue semi-accident that we saw on the Snapchat. Did you want your husband dead?
No. I have a really sick sense of humor sometimes, inappropriate humor, and I have a sharp tongue sometimes and can say nasty things.
Would you ever orchestrate the murder of your husband with your 3 kids home?
Never.
Did you participate in the death of your husband?
No.
When Ryan was finally killed, she said that she was scared that Houston would find out if she snitched on him, so she didn't tell the authorities that he did it.
I was so scared. I panicked.
Did you continue to lie to law enforcement for years?
I did. I was also being threatened by Houston for over a year and a half afterwards. He started sending me Snapchats that he knew where I was at. He was watching me and reminding me about these dangerous people that he knew, and that he knew how to take care of problems, and that he would take out anybody else that was necessary.
During cross-examination, they called her out for not mentioning this to any of the several investigators who interviewed her over the years.
In these 3 hours that he's talking to you, you don't mention the story you've told today, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you chase him out of your property.
I told him to leave.
They also challenged her claims of loving Ryan by making her read her texts to Houston out loud.
You state you loved Ryan Cooper?
Yes.
You loved him?
Yes.
Very much?
Yes.
Are you able to read that, Miss Cooper?
And just felt even harder for you, which I don't think I could have been any more crazy over you than I already was. I wrote, here's hoping for a rogue semi today. Big accident, no survivors.
Your mind, and you should say your mind is pretty dark and twisted, correct?
That's what I wrote in the next message, yes.
Karina continued reading her texts to Houston with a cold tone. Karina was clearly taking full responsibility for writing these texts. However, her demeanor while reading them out loud suggested that they didn't have any significance since they didn't represent how she actually felt about her husband. She insisted that it was all just part of a fantasy. When questioned about her text to Houston right before the murder, she said that she didn't just say go. She said that there were actually 2 more texts, and the full message was go to sleep. However, during the state's rebuttal phase, they called Tiffany Lord back to the stand, and she told jurors that based on the digital forensic evidence, it was not possible for Karina to have sent 2 additional messages following go. After the trial wrapped up on day 7, the jury then deliberated for 3.5 hours before coming back with a verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025. Any further record we need to make on behalf of the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
Karina was put in cuffs and escorted out of the courtroom. Following Karina's guilty verdict, on what would have been the first day of his trial, Houston entered a guilty plea. His defense attorney made a statement saying, "There was no plea agreement. Mr. Danker wanted to accept responsibility for his role, and at the same time spare his family, the Cooper family, and the community the ordeal of a trial." Karina's sentencing then took place on September 19th, 2025. She was given the opportunity to address the court, but opted to stay silent. Ryan's family, on the other hand, had a lot to say. His sisters, Heather Cooper and Michelle Wilson, spoke at length about the amazing person Ryan was and chastised Karina for taking him from his family.
He was a simple man, kind, caring, thoughtful towards others.
His 4 children, Cole, Cade, Gable, and Cortland, were his most cherished treasures.
3 children forever must live with that awful day in mind, suffering massive trauma no child should ever have to witness. Cousins have now become siblings. Our nephews and niece talking about how they no longer have a mom or a dad.
We will never stop saying Ryan's name. We will never stop celebrating Ryan's life. This narcissistic psychopath made the incomprehensible choice to rid her pathetic life of my brother.
She destroyed people, manipulated people. Awful, deceiving person. She deserves the worst. I don't want her to be the topic anymore. So this is it. Last she will see of us. Last I will address her. Last I will care to give her any thought.
There is no sentence for you that would adequately punish you for your evil, vile, selfish, delusional, and narcissistic actions.
She can now go to prison.
My full, complete, and final message to you is go to hell.
In the end, Karina received the mandatory sentence for first-degree murder in Iowa, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, with the first 5 years in solitary confinement. Houston Danker received the same punishment as Karina at his sentencing hearing days later. Both Houston and Karina will live out the rest of their natural lives behind bars in the Iowa prison system.